You're faced with two choices. One is you can pass those costs along to consumers, or you can fight for them and you can try to do it in a different way. WorkSharp manufacturing goes back a little more than a year, but the real story goes back 30 or 35 years back to the 80s. And many years ago, we were manufacturing, machining a lot of our own parts and a lot of our own castings. And so, getting back into the machining game and then coatings and lasering and other things beyond that is really a return to our roots. And so it was over the last couple of years, we continued to feel cost pressure from overseas and through trade and challenges there. And we have a great network of vendors that have allowed us to deliver high value for our consumers for a very long time, but we continue to be pressured to be able to do that fully. So our effort has really been around standing up manufacturing again, bringing that back in-house. Not everything is going to be brought in-house, but we want to, as we're standing up knives, be able to more fully control our costs, more fully control our lead times, so that at the end of the day, we can insulate our consumers from those pressures and deliver better products for them. The world is changing. We want to be honest and real about how that has changed over the last decade, but also we want to prepare for the next decade. We want to prepare for the decades after that, and this is one of the steps we can do to be more ready and be more resilient. I mean, let's be real. Tariffs are a real thing. They became something that we needed to respond to, and we had a couple of choices in there. We're choosing a really intentionally hybrid strategy where we can still maintain our workforce in Ashland. We can bring the goods in and fight through that in a thoughtful way that helps deliver more value for our consumers and takes better care of our coworkers. If it comes down to us as a business writing a check to the Treasury, or being able to gainfully employ somebody, teach them new skills, level them up in their life, ultimately help them get into their first home, that's the obvious choice. And I think our consumers are going to support that. We have a strong overseas supply chain. We want to continue to lean into that and use that. And we're intentionally hybrid in that way. But as tariffs and as some of the other trade challenges that we've had, part shortages, we went from having 6-week lead times to having 6-month lead times. We could either sit and whine about these changes and what's going on in the external circumstances around us, or we can fight. And so we chose to fight and use that as a driver for us to head in this direction over the last couple years. And a big part of that change was going from just being a sharpening company to also being a knife company. But as we got closer to being a knife and sharpening company, we realized, especially for the knives, that the lead times were too long to respond to consumer demand, too long to be able to deliver them high value. And so we wanted to be able to be more agile and be more flexible to consumer preferences, especially in the knife game. It's a totally different bag of tricks is required to be successful in the knife game than was in the sharpening game. And so we're using that as our motivation to stand this up and get a whole lot better at machining our own parts, and ultimately being able to bring in knives to Ashland to assemble that are almost completely made within this facility. What we do at WorkSharp is we design the products here, we sell them, we market them, and we assemble them in the US. That brings jobs into the Rogue Valley, and what I like to think is, where we live is a beautiful place. We're one of the few types of businesses in manufacturing where we're bringing goods in and we're shipping out product, and the dollars are coming back into our local community. And so for me, doing more of that and being able to leverage that does require a global supply chain, because it's difficult to make motors in the US. There's very few suppliers for that. But at the same time, we can have the best of both worlds. We can deliver an awesome product at a wow value by leveraging those partnerships. There have been increases to cost, and there's only so much of that we can absorb, but we're mitigating as much of that as possible so that the minimum amount is passed along to consumers. At the end of the day, they're working hard for their paycheck, they're working hard to put their kids through school, they're working hard to make their life happen. And we want to deliver them tools in their capable hands that help them to do whatever job it is that they want to do, whether that's in their yard, out in the field, out on a hunt. We want to help them maximize that paycheck and get the best bang for their buck. Bringing more work in-house is partly about creating local jobs, which feels really good. Running a business where we're growing and we're bringing work back in, and we're not struggling to find people to do that work. I hear a lot of businesses complain, for lack of a better word, about finding good workers, and I tend to flip that around, and I tend to think that if you're struggling to find good workers, it's possible you have not created a great place to work. And so for me, Our best sign that we're doing a good job is, are we expanding our employment count? Are we finding great people? And then are we able to promote them? The technical shift from being able to own our own manufacturing and being able to stand that up is immense. In the first RMX version, it was a year to get parts, to get qualified parts that we could do more than just slap together as engineers. And our lead time shrunk a bit since then, but we're still 6 months from order through to being able to turn that into a finished good knife. That's a long time to wait. And for us now, we've cut that lead time down to about 6 weeks. So going from 6 months down to 6 weeks creates a lot of flexibility in our supply chain, creates a lot of flexibility for our team, for us to chase demand, to create new variants and new versions. The more efficiently we can run our business, the better value we can put in customers' pockets. Additionally, the development timeline is dramatically different. RMX was a 3-year project to get to our first knife, but we didn't have the level of precision that we can get based on the Haas machines that are behind me. We just couldn't achieve the tolerances in the tenths of thousands until the last 6 months. And as we've really spooled that up, the next versions of our knives, which are coming out soon, have a much shorter timeline. We've been able to do that in months instead of years. And so that's exciting. It allows us to continue to do more in the future, to speed up our roadmap, to be able to pull forward some of the cool designs that we have, again, with some additional innovation and IP that we think customers are really gonna love, and do things that we don't think have really been done in the market, because there's nobody really thinking about how to do this type of business exactly like we are. There's the made overseas crowd, there's the made in US crowd. There's not really very many people in the middle looking to try to find the right hybrid approach to deliver as much value through to consumers as possible. And so everybody's got their products and got their way of doing it. We're not really copying or emulating anybody. We're coming up with a whole different strategy that works for WorkSharp. We're going to be able to undercut some of the prices in the market for types of knives or for designs, specifically integrals, where people haven't seen these prices in the market at this level of quality, I don't think ever. Maybe a direct import overseas knife, but certainly nothing with dramatically higher amounts of US content or completely made in the US. And so being able to deliver premium materials, ultra precision in terms of the fit and finish of the knife, the open, the close, the lockout, everything being on point, but at a budget-friendly price is really compelling. Consumers are choosing to care more with their dollars where things are made. Why should they care? Because there's a ton of good that comes from using your hands to make something, and that's, at the end of the day, we want people to be even more capable, and we want our tools to support that. And I think that overall that strengthens an economy, it strengthens the job base, makes it a local economy stronger having manufacturing in it. For me, WorkSharp manufacturing is not the end goal. Building a machine shop is not the end of it, it's the beginning of a totally different journey. And for me, I think of it like a flower. WorkSharp headquarters in Ashland is the center of that, and WorkSharp manufacturing as it stands now, this machining and laser cutting and routing and 3D printing, that's all, one more pedal to this. But I can see a time in the future where we continue to build out all the way around that core of the flower. There could be an entire new facility that's based on coatings and laser markings. There could be another one that's based on heat treating at some point in the future. There might be another that's based on 3D printed parts. And we're internally financing it through our ownership. Part of what allows that to happen is our long-term vision of being not just a 4th generation family-owned company, but having a business that's thriving, so that should the 5th generation who are still in high school want to run that business or want to be a part of it, we've built a business that will be here for them, that will not just be a business that's alive, but will be a business they'd want to be a part of. And so far that's working great. We have knife companies coming to us routinely asking us already to machine blades, to grind blades for them, to help them with their processes because they're finding bottlenecks with their supply chain. There's probably a few ways to summarize what we're doing out here at WorkSharp Manufacturing. One of those would be we're taking challenges and turning them into opportunities. We're taking the supply chain challenges, we're taking the trade war challenges, we're taking the tariff challenges, we're taking things that are difficulties and turning those into opportunities to serve our customer and create a stronger, more resilient business. Additionally, we're creating an opportunity for our coworkers and for our team to continue to grow and to deliver through that what our consumers want. And so they want us doing more machining, doing more coatings, In short form, we're creating additional flexibility and resilience by building WorkSharp Manufacturing. At the core, creating a more resilient business and a more flexible business is going to allow us to better deliver for our customers. If any of this story about WorkSharp Manufacturing was interesting or exciting to you, tune into the next installment where we go in depth on how we're machining parts for the Madrone here in White City.